goddesses and beloved gods, how be you this day?
It's so wonderful to hear your voice, Zorra. It's wonderful
Indeed.
for you to be here, and we thank you. We thank you very much.
And it is also wondrous to come and talk with you peoples for a time. And, of course, I understand the peoples out there. Last time we had a call, we had what's called a guest upon us. But this time, no guests. So you're going to have to put up with myself and my beloved Soraya. So, which I don't think you'll complain too much if this occurs. So, to reiterate what is happening in what is called the Antarctic continent, your prospective governments and also other governments who also have a bit of what is called their representatives down there as well. It has become an international, what is called, incident that is transpiring down there. So they have uncovered a city. And the city is, and the more they uncover, the more they discover. But so there's definitely activity going on down in your Antarctica. And they are finding flash frozen peoples and flash frozen foliage and things of this nature, and which they feel is going to have an impact upon the present world. And of course, and then you had people talk about what is called the flipping of the axis and things of this nature. Or you've had people
Zorra?
again beginning to speak of whose property is this finding in or upon, and it's not just for one country; it's for all of them, and it was meant to be uncovered now because it is time for it to be uncovered. And
what city is that, Zorra?
What city?
What city is that? And yes, is that from the Lemurian continent, or is this from Atlantis? And what beings were uncovered there? Who are they? I was wondering if you could just expound a little on that.
Well, the beings that were uncovered, contrary to what you've been hearing, are the Anunnaki. So, and they have also, through imaging, they have noticed that there are several, what is called, three to be more precise, three great vessels under the ice of the ice shelf. But understand, beloved masters, beloved gods and goddesses, Antarctica is a landmass. It is not just ice and snow. There is a landmass beneath the ice and snow. And at a period of existence where the entire continent became frozen, or flash frozen, there was what is called a flipping of the axis. But that is a thing of the past. It will never occur again. Because, understand, the Galactic Federation have ships that are stationed, great ships in immense size, upon the four regions of the Earth in space. And they are keeping what is called the planet from flipping on its axis. So you take that out of your mind. The Earth is not going to flip anymore. It is through flipping, but it is not through expanding. So there will be expansions that will be taking place But understand that is also not for you to worry about, because the great expansion, when it does take place, will be after the gathering, after everyone has been taken from the surface of the earth, animals as well as people, to be put in the safe haven until the great expansion is over with. So, but you do understand that what is called man's achievements, such as the great cities and such as the great monuments and things of this nature, will suffer what is called the cataclysms and things of this nature that are going to be in the expansion of the planet. And so your great cities of New York and Chicago and Tokyo and all of these wondrous feats of engineering are going to disappear, mainly because they have to, because the Earth is what is called, the outside of the Earth is expanding, getting larger. And of course that is, and there's also been talk of that the Earth can only sustain a certain amount of beings upon the surface or on the Earth. And I can assure you that Hollow Earth has more than enough ample space for every human on the planet. So I can assure you again that there is no reason for you to have a genocide or have a elimination of population, because it is ludicrous thinking, because there is more space on the inside of your planet that is livable, habitable, that you will be partaking of. So get this fear out of your minds. This
Zorra?
fear. Yes?
Going back to Antarctica, you know, I think what people are hearing now is that two things. Antarctica is melting, which is a good
thing, not a bad thing.
Well, people think that that's not a good thing, and that they're finding all kinds of pyramids. I think the last count was like about 91 volcanoes. So, you know, if any of those erupt, it could cause a tidal wave, again, for destruction. So tell us a little bit about why Antarctica is melting, and tell us a little bit about the pyramids.
Antarctica is not melting. It's the ice shelves are melting. The ice shelves are not what is called. See, people are under the impression that Antarctica is just ice and snow, and that it is not an actual continent. That it is just layers upon layers of ice and snow, and it is not. It is land beneath the ice, beneath the snow. I understand. Yes, there are great depths of ice, and it would take eons of time before all of the ice was to melt off of the continent. But understand that melting is not a bad thing, as you term it. It is because it is revealing findings and things of this nature on the continent itself. And there's no in Antarctica is what is called a pristine land beneath the ice.
And who does that belong to, Zorra?
It belongs to Prime Creator.
No. I'm talking as far as the continent. You know, we have the continent of Lemuria. We have the continent of Atlantis.
They don't belong to anyone.
Do they have a name? Does it have a name?
Gaia. The city? Yes.
Well, the city?
Yes. One of the cities that are being uncovered, Anarchaea. And so that's the name of the city. It's called Anarchaea.
And Anarchaea, and that is on the continent of
Antarctica.
Antarctica, and the beings that are on that originally from eons ago were the Anunnakis who came here at the very beginning of our existence?
Yes. And of course, there were also in the cities. There were also peoples from the Lemurian culture, from the Atlantean culture, and also from the Anunnakian culture. So it was a thriving continent of vibrant life, and in reality, Antarctica, before its blast freeze, was a tropical continent, and so it had no snow and things of that nature. It was a very vibrant and very highly advanced civilization, and of course, which even as you know, the Lemurian continent, it was advanced in technology, and so is Atlantis. Even though the Atlanteans took most of their knowledge from or stole their knowledge from the Lemurians, but still there was great strides in science and technology. And also understand at that time there was no what you term pestilence upon the earth. There was no what is called what is the term? There was no illness, no sickness, no disease, none of this. All of this was not present on that continent at all. So
interesting.
Yes, it is. It is very interesting, and this is what your peoples are uncovering.
Oh, wonderful! And
they are also finding what is called. They found devices in the that were uncovered in the pyramids that they discovered, and in those pyramids were what you term the med beds, if you will, or healing chambers, So technology is being discovered even more.
Wonderful.
Understand all the inventions that you have today are ancient compared to the technology that is being found in Antarctica. So, and again, there was a discrepancy as to whom owned it, and the territory upon which. Understand the Germans have an area of Antarctica that they are in charge of. The Japanese have an area in which they are in charge of. The Americans have a base in which they are in charge. There are different around the continent of Antarctica. There are several different bases and from several different countries. So everyone has a stake in what is being discovered. And but of course, as you know, as it is so termed, that everyone wants to be sole proprietor, and of course that cannot be. And so there's a dispute going on between nations as to who owns the technology, and the point being is everyone owns it. So. Yeah. And they need to get that through their heads that it is not a private owning that is uncovering the information and the technology. And of course, and then you also have the heating up of conflict in Syria and things of this nature, where the Chinese and what is called the Russians and what is called the Americans and the Syrians and all this are all biting at the bit to gain control in that area. And also understand. Yes, go ahead.
Well, since we're talking about Syria, and everyone, if you're thinking that I'm interrupting, it's just so we can get some of the critical questions, that people have had,
You are not interrupting.
Okay. Well, thank you.
At all.
Zorra. So in regards to Syria, the big deal about Syria was that people were really afraid that, the United States was going to go and, bomb, or they were going to do the chemical, what do you call it?
Biological warfare.
Biological warfare, etc., that would be initiated by us, and then of course that could, and that would then trigger Russia to, send a missile towards us, etc., causing all kinds of panic. Anyway, all of that was a false flag. And
indeed,
I guess I just want, yes. So I guess one of the key things that people do not understand is that whatever they hear, in the news, that's not, in these days, it's not necessarily true. They have to get beyond to get to the truth. And the truth of the matter was that there was another false flag here. And that was put together by, with the CIA, again, the CIA of Russia, working to bring about, some sort of turbulence or chaos there, so that, because I think part of their issues, one of the things is they want to get rid of, not just politically they want to get rid of Trump. So Syria, so maybe you could just kind of tell us about the what's going to be happening in that area. We're talking Middle East, we're talking about Syria, we're talking about all of that stuff.
Well, for one thing, before I go into that, I want to bring forth a bit of knowledge to you peoples that Russia, China, America, Great Britain, all of the major powers, they have a joint space station in orbit around Mars. And it has been there ever since your 1950s. So all this bickering and all of this conflict and turmoil that is taking place on the Earth is ludicrous thinking. Because understand, if you have a bringing together of nations in space already, why have a conflict on the surface? They live together in peace. Why can't you? And of course, that is man's legacy. They like to do what is termed to bicker and to squabble and things of this nature. It is in their nature to do it. One
of the things that it comes down to again is that the satanic elites and the cabal, they are still quite at play. I guess maybe it's what I'm trying to get at on our surface.
Well, the minions of the cabal are at play, as you might term it, causing disruptions, causes chaos and things of that nature. But they are fast being rounded up, and that is what is taking place as far as what you term as mass arrests and things of that nature. They are being rounded up. They are being detained and things of that nature. They are being revealed, exposed, and so for what they really are. And in doing so, they are bringing forth more calmness onto the earth, and people think they see an increase in violence and things of this nature, and that is just what is called, as you term it, a false flag, to cause confusion, to cause fear, to cause chaos, and things of that nature, and that will go on until what is called not everyone, but most of the peoples awaken. And that is the reason for what is taking place in the energy fields. So you still have a wondrous love wave that is approaching the earth. It is, beginning to touch the earth in different ways. being imagined in different ways. And some people don't feel it because they're not awakened, or they're still in a bit of a slumber. But they will be awakening, and they will be awakening. They're awakening now. Even more and more technologies or inventions are coming to the surface already. You may have noticed that already. So inventors are not in what is called in fear of their life anymore, because your president, Trump, who is in office now, is allowing this to come forth. And so he is playing a role as well, just as everyone on the planet are playing a role.
So we have to,
yes,
talking about Trump, Zorra, do we have to worry about Trump as far as his actions and as far as his I think he's been protected. You know, he and his family have been protected.
He has what is called in his cabinet. He does have an advisor that has been placed there by the Galactic Federation, and he speaks with them on a daily basis. So there is representatives of the Galactic Federation in the governments of America, in the governments of Russia, in the governments of China, in the governments of Great Britain. So we do have.
We're protected.
Yes, you are very well protected.
Thank you.
You need to get the fear away from you. The fear of nuclear annihilation. All of this is a false flag. All of this is a no thing. To you, it is a big thing, but to the Galactics, they see it as a non-event. So, and of course, and the reason for that is because we have ships that are stationed around the world that are monitoring areas that could come under conflict. And they are being observed, they are being monitored, and so understand all of your media is also being monitored by the Galactic Federation. And if your countries were to try and perpetrate a nuclear attack, immediately your skies would be filled with ships, and they would not be cloaked at all. So, and they would be deterring all missiles, shutting them down. So, we are not going to allow you to annihilate yourselves. Period. End of story.
Okay. Well, I know you've told us that many times. So thank you again for that
the reason I bring it out,
Zorra.
the reason I bring that out is because of the the talk of nuclear annihilation and things of this over in Syria. So we are not, as we have said before, your planet is under our protection. And it is under the Galactic Federation's protection. We have proven that to you time and time again. The more which is called recent event, which was the meteor over Russia, that was an outward showing to the people of the Earth that you are protected, that you are not going to be annihilated by an asteroid.
Of course, there have been other examples that we don't know of, Zorra, also where the Galactics have intercepted any problems. Is that correct?
Absolutely. When they had what is called Kim Jong-un of North Korea, had launched
Yes.
missiles over toward Guam, over toward
Yes.
Hawaii, and all of those, every single one of them was just simply deactivated and dropped into the ocean. So, and of course, once they dropped into the ocean, then they were collected by the Galactic Federation with the undersea vessels that were in that area that scooped them up, and they are no more. And I will tell you this: your oceans no longer have any radiation in them.
Wow. That's amazing.
That was a message I was to give you from Prime Creator. Your oceans are free of radiation.
Well, what did the Galactics do? How did you guys do that?
We have a process in which we can scoop up, vacuum up, if you will, radioactive particles, and we simply vacuum the oceans.
Okay. So is that continuing then? Obviously, because we're still working with radioactive chemicals.
Well, yes, but you also have what you in your Department of the Navy have shut down all of their sonar activity that was causing harm to the marine life. That has been shut down too. And so your planet is being very gently and very ongoing, being purified to the point of
That's beautiful.
You'll find that many people who have gone out to areas of the Pacific coast and areas were once polluted by oil are now clean. They do not have the pollutants on your coasts anymore. The oil spill that took place in the Gulf of Mexico, that one is nearly completely cleansed. And so
beautiful. Much thanks
indeed.
To you and the Galactics and to all of the Galactics. Prime Creator, who is the yes. Thank you so much
and
for
again,
that. Before we go,
I will also include upon this up in the Arctic Circle, you have what is called the ice shelf, and there's a great opening in the ice that is now what is termed 5 miles wide. Now, the purpose of that is because your scientists are thinking that it is the melting of the Arctic ice cap, but it is not. It is the separation of the ice to allow cruise ships from the surface to access hollow Earth.
Beautiful. So can that happen now then, Zorra, or are we waiting for...
It can happen as soon as people once it becomes common knowledge around the world that the opening is there, and it is being reported by your satellites. It is being reported by the icebreakers that are constantly up there. They have discovered this waterway, and but they are perplexed because the waterway is going from the area of Greenland to a northwesterly, what is called trek toward the geographical pole. And they are perplexed because of the direction that it has taken. And they are wondering why. So there are ships up there, what you call icebreakers, and research vessels that are up there, determining why the direction of the opening is pointing toward your geographical pole.
And the reason is?
Because they're soon going to be seeing vessels on that waterway that are not from here.
Oh, that's fabulous. Oh, this is part of Hollow Earth or Inner Earth coming to visit.
A precursor to the reunion of sorts.
But they haven't started that yet. Inner and Hollow Earth have not started that yet. They have not come.
No, not
their
yet.
ships are not, yeah. So are we waiting for the wave, the wave of awakening to occur when first?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I got it. Okay. All right. Well, Zorra, we have a lot of things yet to cover, but I would just like to discuss 3 more topics real briefly, if we can.
Go right ahead.
It has been a little bit of time since we've had you to actually talk on these topics. So the next topic to discuss again is in regards to the border wall. We know that already is going up, and people are under the again because of media. They're saying, well, why is Trump doing that? There should not be a wall there. But on the other hand, what people really don't know is that there's a point, especially if he's being led by a galactic advisor. And one of those or a few of those reasons is that they're trying to prevent any more of the evil, satanic elites to bring in mercenaries who already, if they came into the United States, they already have these groups that want to bring more pedophile and drugs and all of those things into obviously to do all kinds of evil work. So I guess my question for you, Zorra, is tell us from your point of view what is going on with that.
Well, presently they're putting up the wall to prevent what's called influx of peoples from south of the border. But understand,
correct,
the walls are just a deterrent. Understand, if people want to enter the United States, they come in by air or they come in by water. So putting up a wall is just another, what is called another deterrent. Is all it is. But it is also going to get to a certain point where it will stop.
Mm-hmm.
And the construction will stop.
Mm-hmm.
Because they will have more on their minds than trying to build a wall.
Okay. So this deterrence, is that like a clue for something? I mean, there's a reason why they're doing that. It isn't just to prevent immigration of people coming north, to the United States, but it's also to prevent the bad guys from coming into the United States as well. I think is part of the news that we've been hearing. So I understand as well that with the waves that are coming in,
that is only a minor deterrent. The people, the ones that are determined to enter into the United States are going to enter into the United States. Despite a wall or despite the air control or whatever. It was very difficult in order to keep out what is the term the people use? Oh, the riffraff is this whole term. But still, understand that is a minor setback for them.
Okay.
A wall is just a wall, and a wall
Yeah.
can be breached.
Sure, that's true. All right. So we'll just kind of, then I guess my question is, why in the world did Trump even why is he doing it anyway? I guess is my question.
Well, in his mind, when he began the process of doing it, it was because of what is called the influx of the immigrants coming across the borders and taking away the jobs from the American peoples. But and of course, as you know, there's many companies have gone overseas because it is cheaper to manufacture over there than it is here. But
right, okay.
So it is a simple bit of politics, is all it is.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, so the other couple of things, obviously, is
the other topic.
The other topic, that has kind of been negative as well, is we're talking a lot about this 5G, the new phones that are going to be coming out no later than 2019, and that has. We already have, the 3G, 4G technology on the iPhones, and we also know that they cause a lot of EMFs, just like, the microwaves, etc. But when we move to 5G, that is going to be 10 times more powerful. So there's a lot of dangers to having 5G, and I'm just wondering do we have to worry about that? By that time, we won't have to worry about that. Is that correct, Zorra?
That is correct.
Okay.
You and I have to worry about. Understand the technologies that are coming out or seem to be new that are coming out are primitive because they have already been discovered or rediscovered by your governments well in the past.
Okay. So what you're saying is we probably won't be needing it.
No.
Right, because by then we should have, mental telepathy. We have all kinds of things already that we'll have all of our abilities. So this is just like a, what do you call it? Something to talk about for now.
Indeed. Okay. Understand all
right.
the technologies that seem to be coming out that are new to you. They're new.
Right.
But to many, they are ancient.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I brought that up, again, is because we're always trying to fight EMFs. We're trying to, stay away from anything that's radioactive because of what it can do to the bodies, like cause cancer and all kinds of other different illnesses. So, but we'll have technology as well to remove all of those negative radiation anyways.
That's right. You will.
Okay. All right. Okay. So and then lastly, the big deal right now, Zorra, we're still waiting for that RV to come through, the RV GCR. Could you please give us more specifically at this point where we are in this, in our blessings? That's the biggest question really of all.
Well, as I have said before, you have ongoing exchanges taking place now. And what is called your tier 1 and tier 2 banks and gatherings with that, what is called, they are being what's called exchanged now. And so in the field of what is called expectancy, I would possibly say we were within the coming weeks, of course, for your internet group, as you term it. they will be getting their what is called their notices, and to come in and exchange too. So it is ongoing, as I had said before. But as I've also said before, that the people that are exchanging, they are going for the sovereign rates, and when they go for the sovereign rates, they must sign what is called an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. And once they have done this, then they cannot speak of it. They cannot bring the knowledge forth.
So this is a reality now as far as the actual distribution of the blessings. So it is
indeed.
So you said, now I don't want to talk about time because we just need to learn how to be patient. You've told us already, patience, 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 and that in the meantime we just continue to stay in the present. So continue doing that, but obviously the message given to Zorra this morning is to prepare, prepare, prepare. So you are referring that energetically as well as for our blessings. Is that right?
Indeed. If you haven't done it yet, and you are you are invested or involved in this exchange, it would be what is called prudent for you to make contact with a wealth manager. And when you do this, you do not go in there and tell them you are going to receive a windfall from your dong or your zim or your dinar, because that is going to send up red flags. What you want to do is say the following: I have what is called a sizable inheritance coming forth, and I wish to set up an account with a wealth manager. That is all. You do not bring up dinar, you do not bring up zim, you do not bring up the dong or any other currencies. Simply tell them that you have a sizable inheritance coming and you wish to set up what's called a companion with what is called a wealth manager. And that is what you tell them. Nothing else. You don't go out there and tell them anything about foreign currency, because they're all going to be thinking it is a scam. And they will continue to think it is a scam until it happens in their area.
Okay.
So if you go in there and you speak of your foreign currency, they ask you what the source of the inheritance is. Just say it's a family inheritance, and leave it at that.
Yes, a family inheritance from the Galactics.
Indeed. So, to put it simply, is when you go and tell them that you have a relative who has ascended or passed, and you have a sizable what's called inheritance coming forth, and if you want to give them a number, throw a number out there, but do not worry about them asking you the source, because it is none of their business anyway. It is simply money to them, and money has no basis as to origin, where it is from, or anything of that nature. Their business is to advise you on how to manage your funds, how to manage your inheritance, and that is what their job is, and that is where their involvement ends. Now, when after you have done your exchanges and you bring forth money to them, But they are going to see money. They're not going to see where it came from. They're simply going to be there to assist you to manage your inheritance or your blessing. So, write that down. Simply go in there and say, I have an inheritance coming. I want to set up an arrangement with a wealth manager to manage the inheritance once it is finalized. And that's all. That will eliminate undue questions that would be asked if you bring up foreign currency.
Is Trump going to make that announcement, Zorra?
He will be part of it, yes.
Part of it. Who's going to be making the announcement?
Well, in the prospective countries, the leaders of those prospective companies will be doing that.
Does prospective governments, you mean? Is that what you said?
Indeed.
Or IMF or whatever, right?
Correct.
Okay.
It could
so we're not going to worry about that.
It could even be announced through the United Nations if it came to be important for them to do that. So.
All right. Okay, so we can expect this. You know, I know that we were expecting it last month and the month before, and now it's April. It's mid-April already.
Yes, I know that.
But yes, so and of course, you know, we keep hearing that it's at any moment now, and then there's a little glitch that happens, or they're not completely ready yet. So, I guess from your point of view, do you see that everything is completely ready?
Of course.
Of course. Okay. All right, but be patient. All right. Well, here, I have a question since we're already talking about this. Maybe we can just go ahead with our Q&A. And I do have a couple of things that came my way via texting as well as a little email that I would like to bring up with you. So the first question that I have here is from beloved Derek. And I guess I would like to, I'm going to kind of, he wants to know if you could tell us, or if not willing to tell the group, to tell him directly, or you could just say this directly, where people can actually go so they can exchange a small amount of currency to get some liquidity. Because at the current stage that we're at this should not be unreasonable requests, and I'm sure many others would like to do the same. I guess things have been dragging out too much, and it's just really difficult, as you know. You well know that it's very difficult for people to continue going from day to day, to survive. So could you give us some ideas about that, Zorra?
When it comes to exchanging your currencies, there's no specific place to go to presently in order to exchange a small portion of your currencies. It has to be announced in your area, and this is what you're waiting for. But for me to give forth a location for someone to go to do an exchange, this I will not do at this time.
Okay, all right. Okay, I guess if you want to, return your currency and get some money back, then you can just go back to the bank or wherever you've purchased it from and sell it back to them. Other than that, to be able to really exchange for a little bit. But
you would be exchanging. Yes, you would be losing by exchanging it now. So. Yeah,
and you'd be losing if you go ahead and return it, correct, or sell it back.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So your suggestion is...
advice to you is to hold on to your currency and to put it in a safe place, safe or whatever, and just hold on to it until you get the notification to make the call, to make your appointment. And at that point, you can make arrangements to do a little or a lot, whichever you decide to do. But advisable, do not turn in your currency. Do not attempt to go to the banks and ask to exchange for, unless the banks are in the know, which many of them are now, but and unless they are aware of the event coming forth concerning the exchanges, I would not go and put yourself out there. So simply be a little more patient, which I know you've heard that before, but